Traveled far, yet you're
Hi guys, this is Spud, and today we're reviewing Armikrog on the Xbox One. Now Armikrog is a puzzle adventure game in where you play Tommy Knot along with his pal Beep Beak, who's a funny kind of looking dog who was crash landed on a strange planet with no way to escape, or so you're led to believe. As the explorer, Tommy Knot has ventured off into space looking for a source of energy for his home planet, but what he's not looking for is the strange alien that suddenly attacks him. After some quick thinking, our two heroes run and escape, and only manage to get trapped in a large fortress called Armikrog. In the fortress, or castle, you look out the window to see the same alien chasing down others and eventually snacking on one of them. This is where the game actually begins, and you're tasked with finding your way out of this castle. After some puzzle solving, you eventually stumble upon a baby named P in a room with a large hole in the roof and some sort of animal skin on the floor. Through the cutscenes in the game, you learn more about P and his backstory. It's a cool way to tell the story, and I feel the overall feel of how it's told is done very nicely. The meat and bones of the game and what you'll experience all comes from its puzzles. There are all items around the world, and you have to find where they fit into and what they do. For example, the very first puzzle, you have to find the lever and stick it into the panel that opens the door. The door you first entered. The thinking that the meat and bones of what you'll experience in the game all comes from its puzzles. There are items all around the world, and you have to find where they fit into and what they do. For example, the very first puzzle, you have to find a lever and stick it into the panel that in turn opens the door. The door you first entered, thinking that the lever would open that same door, it actually opens up the door down the corridor, and it's these kind of puzzles that makes you think what each item you collect is used for. This was at times where I was a little confused when interacting with the world around me. When you first stumble upon an ant-like creature called Abraham Ant Lincoln, whose clicks and images he with his claws made it pretty confused until I found the puzzle he was referring to. The majority of the head scratchers in Armikrog are based around finding clues in the world and using what you learn to rearrange the puzzle pieces to reach the next area of the castle. One of the first puzzles you'll encounter is a panel with a series of symbols. By exploring the world, you can find everything you need to solve it, but I don't blame players for feeling a little lost at first. The reason for this is probably one of the issues I had with the game. Unlike a lot of other point and click adventures, you won't be given any clues if you click on an object. Tommy Knot can describe what he's looking at, and he doesn't have an inventory to help you to see what tools you have to work with. One of his only tools is his trusty sidekick named Beep Beak. Now Beep Beak can travel through little tunnels inside the game to another world or dimension, and it's inside these worlds you can find items and oftentimes the clues you need to beat the current puzzle you're at. You can also interact with the strange octopus-like creatures that ferry you between areas in the game, which I didn't know out and only found out after spending an hour clicking on everything in the world to make something happen. Armikrog's puzzles can also be quite lengthy, requiring you, as in some cases with the baby's puzzles, to sit patiently as you rearrange the musical mobile animals on it and wait until it resets itself. It's also important to note that you have to do these puzzles 3 times throughout the game. It's a bit of a nightmare when you're eager to continue through the story, only have to sit through this sequence without being able to skip it. There are also some puzzles that require you to go between screens while on a tram-like machine. It takes less than 10 seconds to leave an area and come back, but it's still a bit of a hassle. The puzzles in the game are never impossible to complete, but at times they feel a little thrown together or tedious. Sometimes the longer puzzles can even feel like time sink that are bolstering the game, as it's pretty short experience. Puzzles often feel like you have to spend way more time than is necessary on them. Overall, the largest issue is that the puzzles lack any real variety. You end up doing the same puzzles usually 3 or 4 times with varying levels of complexity. Now it's not all bad though. Armikrog's look and the music are 2 things that really bring the game to life. From the moment the game starts, you can appreciate the work and effort that has gone into the design of the game. It reminds me of the old TV shows I used to watch like Morph and Trapdoor. They're kind of silly but funny. The game settings and level designs are very well built of physical objects. For example, at one point in the game, the environment actually stretches itself out like an accordion. Armikrog is a very strong opening into the game, but it's the stuff beyond that that leaves me wanting a little more. Throughout the game, there are a little number of cutscenes that clue you into what's happening at Armikrog. The animated scenes are told using a gibberish type of alien language, while having actual script probably would have helped the game a little bit more. There are not really main characters to interact with, either a ghost or a hologram near the start of the game gives you some little hints, but the interaction within the world is slightly empty. I think it would have been a lot more fun if the developers done more with the claymation in the game, maybe providing more variety of objects to mess about with. Often while playing, you'll often forget that the settings in fact are real and exist at some point somewhere in the studio that was created with a lot of hard work, like you would with the likes of Aardman Animation Worlds. Not that this is on the same level or scale, but hopefully you know what I'm trying to convey. I hope that developers build on this and with something different approaches can make the game a lot more fun and accessible to a wider audience. Now the game looks polished and has a great soundtrack, and it's a little puzzler that will get you thinking. The animations and the level designs are pretty cool, but it's a bit more frustrating journey than a brilliant quest. I give Armikrog a 7 out of 10. If you like this review and you'd like to see more, please hit the subscribe button and the like button down below. Thanks for watching.